fellow Americans. My name is Justin T-Bot, here at Channel 10 News, with the most informing news broadcast. Tonight, we'll be doing a special broadcast focused on the aggression, appeasement, and war currently going on in Europe. As we all know, Japan seized Manchuria, Chinese land in northeastern Asia, in 1931. The League of Nations, formed after World War I, condemned this aggression, but took no action to penalize Japan. As a result, Japan withdrew from the League of Nations because they were not promoting peace, as this is the main goal of the League. Only a few years ago, Italian forces, led by Benito Mussolini, invaded Ethiopia. And once again, the League of Nations took no action to penalize Italy. Now we go over to our field reporter, John Kelly, who's currently in the Italian-occupied capital of Ethiopia, Addis Ababa.
And here I am in Addis Ababa, which is currently occupied by Italy. Haile Selassie, the former emperor of Ethiopia, was exiled once the Italians invaded, but many believe he will return after Ethiopia is no longer under Italian control. This emperor wants to impose reforms and modernize Ethiopia, but as you can see behind me, the country that has great potential is left in ruins and will stay this way until action is taken against the war-provoking Italy. Now back to Justin in the studio.
Whoa, that sure is an unforgettable scene right now in Addis Ababa. Now we travel back to Europe with the prior events in Germany. In 1938, Adolf Hitler set up his plan for the Anschluss, which is the creation of a unified Germany and Austrian state. To create this state, he forced the Austrian Chancellor to elect Nazis into government positions to gain power, and finally he sent troops to enforce his newly gained power. This violated the Treaty of Versailles, but as it started specifically that Germany can't create a unified German-speaking state with Austria. But as you can see behind me, just how big Germany and its allies' armies are. As a result, there was a threat of war, but once again the Western countries did not respond, and Hitler once again did whatever he wanted to. This is all a familiar situation in Czechoslovakia, where once again Hitler invaded the country and forced his power there as well. It's a sad story to see all these countries being plunged into extreme fascism that Hitler and Mussolini imposed on the land they control. All these situations may have been able to be prevented if the Western leaders did not appease to the demands of these ruthless dictators. We will now be back after a short message from one of our sponsors.
Dad, I can't make anything.
Eat a Snickers, man. Not you when you're hungry. Better? Better. No.
You're not you when you're hungry. Snickers delight.
Thank you again for joining us on our special about aggression, appeasement, and war. Here with me now I have Sir Winston Churchill.
Thanks for having me here today.
You're welcome. So for today, I've organized just a couple questions for you. First of all, I'm here to ask you about the state of England before you took power. As everyone knows, Neville Chamberlain, the former Prime Minister of England, appeased both Hitler and Mussolini, as so did the leader of France, Charles de Gaulle. England had no desire to confront Hitler, and France couldn't move without England, because they were demoralized after suffering from political divisions and the horrors of World War I. So my question is, why do you have a drastically different opinion about the Nazis compared to the past leaders?
I have warned the world of the danger of the Nazis long before it was recognized by everyone else. I saw them as an enemy and a threat to the world. They could no longer do whatever they wanted, but they did because no one stopped them. There was a widespread pacifism throughout Western Europe. After World War I, caused by the destruction and the horrors witnessed by the world, when no one else would take action, I had to lead the way, and soon they would all follow. Along with this sense of pacifism, European and the American economies were left in ruins during the Great Depression, and in the prime of this event, Hitler started taking action. The Allied countries were in no state to be engaged in another World War, but something had to be done. Many citizens saw fascism as a defense against communism, which was perceived as a greater evil. Also, some even believed that Germany's response was justified by the Treaty of Versailles, who some believe was too tough on Germany. Without the support of the citizens, the government could take no action to stop Hitler, and that is what has led us to where we are today.
Well, there you have it, straight from Winston Churchill. The Western democracies have peacefully accessed powers for many reasons, but action has now been taken. We all hope that their fascist reigns will soon come to an end. Up next, we are discussing the inner conflicts in European countries leading up to the start of the war.
Fellow Americans, you may want to take chances when playing Russian roulette, but not when it comes to car insurance. Switch to Geico today and save 15% or more on car insurance.
Hello, Harriman, Spain, spreading the scene after the deadly civil war that drew many other European countries. In the 1920s, Spain was a monarchy which was ruled by powerful, land-owning, upper-class military and the Catholic Church. Spain's population was dominated by a poor lower class. These workers were the ones to start a revolution and form a republic, which a written constitution in 1931. This republic ruled until 1936, when Spain was thrown into civil war. The war was fascist, led by Francisco Franco, who fought against communists, socialists, and democracy, known as the Loyalists. Many European countries sent soldiers to fight for the side that they supported. Volunteers from Germany and Italy were sent to fight for Franco, while Western countries, also including the Soviet Union, supported the Loyalists. Britain, France, and the United States remained neutral throughout the whole conflict. Eventually, Franco and his forces won the Civil War and set up a dictatorship similar to that of Germany or Italy.
Thank you, Evan Bastani, for reporting live out of Spain. So, all the countries that trade with the United States were severely impacted by the Great Depression, which sent many countries' economies into shambles. As a result, this left many countries in a predicament. They may have wanted to take action against Hitler, but without the resources to do so, it was not possible. They were just recovering from this economic disaster and weren't ready to suffer from a war. These conflicts in the countries only paved the road for a war. We will now be back after a short word from one of our sponsors.
If you have cable and can't record all your shows, you get bored. When you get bored, you try to find something to do. When you look for something to do, you buy a pet snake. When you buy a pet snake, it tries to eat you. Don't get eaten by a pet snake. Get rid of cable and switch to DirecTV. Call 1-800-DirecTV now.
Thank you again for joining us with our special about appeasement, aggression, and war. All these events that we have discussed have led to the start of World War II. Once the Western democracies realized that their policy of appeasement has failed, they all agreed to protect Poland. In August 1939, only 1 week before Britain and France declared war on Germany, Hitler and Joseph Stalin formed the Nazi-Soviet Pact, which was built only on Germany's fear of fighting a war on two fronts. This pact guaranteed that if Britain and France declared war on Germany, the Soviet Union would not fight against Germany. But by partnering with Germany, it gave the Soviet Union time to prepare for the inevitable war against Germany.
Germany, Italy, and Japan had also created an alliance known as the Rome-Berlin-Tokyo Axis. The Axis powers agreed to fight against the Soviet Union and communism. They all agreed to not interfere with the expansion of each other's territory and power. On September 1st, 1939, Germany invaded Poland, and only 2 days later, England and France declared war on Germany, and thus World War II had begun. The story about aggression, appeasement, and war ends here, with the start of another deadly war that has divided the world into two sides.
Some people around the world believe that Hitler and his forces could have been stopped much earlier if the Western countries had not adopted a policy of appeasement. This may be true, but the only thing the world knows for sure is this conflict will shape the future and impact countries for generations to come. There's a deadly war of force where the Allied powers is a great and powerful force, which will be tested in the coming battles. This is the end of our report, and thank you for joining us.
Hello, ladies. Look at your man. Now back at me. Look at your man again. Now back at me. Unfortunately, your man is not me. But if he stopped using lady-scented body wash and switched to Old Spice, he could smell like me. What's in your hand? I have it. It's 2 tickets to that thing you love. Anything is possible with Old Spice body wash. I'm on a bike.
You suck, Evan! You're trash! No one loves you! Leave! Everyone hates you!
Beats by Dre. Hear what you want to hear, not what you have to.